At times, I'm given too much credit. Now, this doesn't happen at work, and it doesn't happen from my bank, but it happens from this Toastmasters club. People often say that I came up with this evaluation rubric, what I heard, what I felt, and what I saw. That's not accurate. That was an old evaluation form. In fact, Dan's using it today. That's not original with me. I wish it were original, but it's not. Good morning, Dean Lynn. Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about a second guideline that we've used in Toastmasters that people have given me credit for, which is, again, not original with me. But I want to take that idea and extend it to an event going on right now in America. The second idea that I often share is that there are 3 speeches that we often give for every one speech that we prepare. We often talk about the speech that we prepare, write, outline. And then there's a speech that's actually given. Sometimes ideas come and I add to them. Sometimes I forget to talk about things. Sometimes I try a joke, it falls flat. Sometimes I had a joke, it works. And at the end, after it's all done, there's a third speech. And that third speech is the speech that I wish I gave. Feedback from my thoughts on the delivery, feedback from the audience, feedback from the evaluator. So there's often 3 speeches tied into one: what I prepared, what I delivered, what I wish I gave. Now let's extend this idea into an event going on right now in America, the men's and women's basketball tournament in colleges. Vivian, just as a little bit of background, at this time of the year, 64 colleges are selected to compete for a national championship in both men's and women's basketball. Single elimination. And one of the great parts of this is that it is based on brackets. So there's 63 games that are played in the men's and women's tournament. And one thing that has become very popular is to select the winners of each of those games and to begin to figure out who's winning. So 63 is a lot of games to predict, and it's often a lot of emotions involved in that selection. So when I select a bracket, and there's an area I have at work that wants to do this. So there's a bracket that I select, and I look at this bracket by the end of the day, and I think, this is gold. This is the greatest bracket ever selected in the history of the tournament. This thing is great. So I have that bracket. And then I press submit to send that bracket in for the competition. And then there's actually how the bracket really does. The bracket starts on Thursday at 11 o'clock our time. And by about 3 p.m., my bracket is no longer gold. Fool's gold, maybe. But it's no longer gold. In fact, right now in the competition in my area at work, I'm in the bottom quarter. I have good company in the bottom quarter, but I'm in the bottom quarter. So there's that bracket and how it's really doing. And then there's the bracket that I wish I had submitted. And now I have to tell myself, okay, next year I am not selecting against this coach or this team, or I'm definitely going with this coach or with this team. So there's a bracket that I prepared, bracket that's really happening or not happening, and the bracket that I wish I had worked on and submitted, and what I learned from that. So let's see how that compares to the idea of giving a speech. Both have ideas of preparation. I prepare a speech. Sometimes I write out a full outline. Sometimes I just put down notes together. And then sometimes I prepare a bracket by doing research. I don't watch as much TV anymore, as many games as I used to, so I have to do a little bit more reading on, especially ESPN, is which teams are really doing well right now and which ones aren't, or should I be taking a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed? So not so much personal, but I still do some preparation. But sometimes it gets to the point where I just want to spend no more than 10 minutes, submit it, and see what happens. But there's preparation involved in both, preparing a speech and preparing a bracket. What happened? Like I say, as I said before, not everything that I prepare in a speech comes out in a speech. Sometimes I add ideas, sometimes I forget to do things. And in the bracket, it's like, how can I predict this team was going to win? There's like no way this team was going to win, and they do. And then at the end, what could I have done better, both in the speech and in the bracket? But there are differences, and I do want to talk about the differences between preparing a speech and preparing a bracket for the basketball tournaments. Preparation is important. Feedback's important in both. The risk in the men's and women's basketball tournament is that once I press submit, I'm not changing it. I have to go with what I selected. So the feedback in that tournament has to come a whole year later. And do I remember, like, don't pick this team or pick this team? That's a hard thing to remember a year out. But in a speech, I can take the feedback, my thoughts, the thoughts of my evaluator, the thoughts of the audience, and incorporate that into the next speech. Or if I redo the speech, sometimes like we do in the Collider group on Wednesday mornings, if I redo the speech, I have ideas as to how to improve it within a couple of weeks, perhaps, or perhaps the next time I'm up to speak, I have ideas as to how to improve it. So instead of waiting a whole year, I can take that feedback and work on it the next time. And the third difference between a speech and a bracket is that in a speech, I'm betting on myself. In the men or women's tournament, I'm relying on 22-year-olds to make a free throw or a three-point shot. Or I'm relying on a coach my age to make the right decision or to not make a bad decision. Or I'm banking on the referees getting a call right or not right, or a timer getting the call right. So this is all out of my control. But one thing in a speech is that I have a good bit of control as to what's going on. There might be distractions in the room around here. There might be technology issues which are out of my control. But as I present the speech to you, this is still in my control. And I can bet on myself on how to do better with that. Which is sometimes a scary statement to make, that I'm going to bet on myself to do this right. I do have a lot of control as to how I do this speech. So I don't have any rules to give you as to predicting a bracket or selecting teams in a bracket. In fact, if I gave you rules, you'd probably come to me about Thursday afternoon and say, "What was this you gave me?" And I wouldn't get any credit for that. But I am touched that people think I'm giving them credit for these ideas about what I heard, what I saw, what I felt, or the speech I gave, prepared the speech I delivered, the speech I wish I gave. And I hope that you can take away from that there are ways we can make our speeches better. And I hope that some of these ideas can stay with us as we continue on in our Toastmasters journey. Dino, and back to you.